Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. I am Ron Luce. I am back in my familiar environment for those that have watched this show for a long time. David Ross is back over my shoulder, at least for tonight. And I am joined by the one, the only, the promo cutting Mr. Tyler Edmonds. My friend outside of baseball, how are you doing on this Sunday?
I don't know why I'm still doing that with my hand.
Oh,
Physically,
no. Oh,
weekend
there we go.
Saturday I was on the lake. It was great. Um, baseball is a big part of mine, yours, Juice, Nick, Joey, everybody's lives. So, not great, Bob. Not great. And to be honest, to cap it all off, I'm going to find out this Friday if my identity has been stolen. Apparently, my dad, yeah, just a quick short story. So, my mom and dad are at the beach right now. My dad goes to check into their room this morning and they're like, "Sir, I'm sorry, we don't have your name here on the list or like on the check in list, but let me see here. We've got a Tyler Edmonds checking in on Friday. I'm not going to the beach. I wish I was. So, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But
Holy smokes.
yeah, I'm here, Ron. I'm here. That is about it. How are you?
Well, I'm doing okay, sir. I'm right there with you. It was a good weekend. I know you were on the lake. I have a joke a little bit later about not watching Cubs baseball and good things happening because apparently it's me and I'm the problem, is what I'm kind of learning this season
Yeah.
so far. So we might have to find some new mojo dojo to make things work. But
Mhm.
I'm doing okay. I saw Justin Timberlake here in Chicago on
Nice,
Friday night.
nice.
It was a top concert for Ron Luce, for those that don't realize. Big JT guy. It was a great time. Absolutely great time. Did some other things this weekend, as if anybody that follows me knows some of the other broadcast things and funds that I do. But I'm here because, hey, it was Ryne Sandberg Day. It was the anniversary of the Ryne Sandberg game, and the Cubs appropriately unveiled the beautiful statue that is in Gallagher Way. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But so I'm throwing it back to the Ryne Sandberg days with the logo here with the
Yeah, yeah.
chain, trying to just
Nice.
I don't know. I'm trying to make some happiness
Just
this
trying
time.
to find some positivity.
I refuse to let this Cubs team ruin my summer. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, Tyler. Because even though their play on the field might be shitty, I did appreciate watching all those guys come out today for Sandberg's statue unveiling from like the rails of Wrigley Field. That was really cool.
Yeah, that's
That
cool.
just shows like this Cubs team, and I'm gonna save the rest of this rant for later. But this Cubs team, this Cubs fan base, everybody, like it's ready for a winner. It's craving a winner. Like the culture, the atmosphere is bananas. Just put a good freaking product on the field and things will go better. Because Tyler is like we were talking about. We're talking about a series loss here, unfortunately, but we are 2 out of 3 lost to the Mets. They lose Friday, Sunday. They win on Saturday, big. Quickly, those scores 11-1 on Friday showed a head of kind of day. The wind was blowing out too heavy on Friday. It was hot as shit downtown. Can confirm. 8-1 on Saturday, highlighted by the big bomb from Christopher Morel. Good to see the Cubbies bounce back. I think a lot of the Cubs on Tap guys didn't watch, so we'll talk about that stition later, Tyler, of the Cubs doing better when we don't watch games, because then on Sunday it's a 5-2 loss. The Cubs gave hope. I walked away, and Morel hits a home run. I come back, and the Cubs lose. Is there something with that? I think there might be. But Tyler, what are the thoughts going through your head after this series? Because like I know for me personally, I think of course a team in baseball that's really not that great on paper or even in the records necessarily, which I think every team feels like, but they're playing as if they're the Dodgers right now. They've had the best month of June of any team in baseball. And of course the Cubs catch them when they're scorching hot as they've caught every other team this year. So I'm just sitting back after the series and I go, yeah, you lost 2 out of 3 and you got that kind of that beat down on Saturday to get back for Friday. But where are you at in the terms of this team and like people comparing it to last year and just what does this series for you, like, what are the thoughts that this series puts in your head?
It it's worse than last year.
Mm,
It's than last year. I feel like last year was a tease. Last year was a tease of like, and me and you talked about. I think we talked about it last week at the game when they played the Giants. Like we talked about how last year just felt like that tease that like, yeah, they had a big fat nice run differential, and then like every other season since like 20, I don't know what it was, like 2018 or something like that, or 2019, like it was like the complete opposite. And this series, it's like the same. It's just the same old same shit, just a different day, just a different series. It's like last series, you beat the Giants in a 3-game series. You get your hopes up after losing that first game that me and you witnessed, or no, yeah, that me and you witnessed. And
mhm.
we literally spoke it. We spoke that loss into existence, and then they turn around and bet. It's like they were like, "All right, let's figure it out," and they figured it out for 2 games and got our hopes up, and then Friday, I get it, Friday Shota or yeah, Friday Shota wasn't Shota. Shota wasn't him on Friday, but we talked about it, like, there's gonna be like, I feel like Friday was that game. Friday was that game that we talked about early in the year, like, yeah, he's gonna have that game, that blow up game, because he does. He gives up a lot of fly balls. He does. And early in the season, we saw a lot of those fly balls, whether it was against what was it, the Padres series?
Mhm.
Padres series, we watched a lot of those, and we're like, man, if he does this in June, if he does this in June when it's hotter, these balls are going to go. And we saw that Friday. This series, tonight's game. Let me give you a simile. I guess that's the right way to. Anyways, let me compare it to this. This series, it's
An
like
analogy?
an analogy. Yes. Thank you.
Of course.
This season has been like, I'll put it this way. It's been like that girl that maybe you hung out with in college. You had that fling with in college that you thought, and it don't have to be in college. It could be in a high school, whenever.
Some point in your life.
You had that fling with this girl that at the time you thought it was going to be something special, and let's be honest, the whole time she knew what she was doing. And so, like, one week was great. The next week she would ghost you. Then the next week she'd come back to you. And then the next week she would ghost you. And the whole year it was just exhausting. And at the very end of it, you got nothing out of it but a bunch of wasted time. And that's what this is starting to feel like. It is. That's exactly what this is feeling like. And let me ask you something. Do you feel, well, one, like, when this, like today they were down 4-0. It felt more like 6-0, 7-0, whatever. Even when they made it 4-2, it still felt like 6-2. And you remember this on Monday night after the game, me and you were talking, and you were talking about this team and what it's done to you.
Mhm. I
Do
was
you feel
broken.
worse after this series than you did Monday in that Giants loss, or the same? Or just now, are you at the point where now it's just like you're completely numb? Yeah, they
Ding,
scored.
ding, 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 ding,
You're
ding.
just numb to it
You took the
because,
words
like,
right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Saturday was nice. It was like that nice night you had with that girl that you thought, man, things are changing. Things are coming around. She's going to stay with me. She's mine. And then tonight you saw her with another dude, Justin. She's going back to the room to give him that old hot tour, if you know what I'm saying. Because that's how it feels right now. I'm just numb to it.
I
Numb
I
to the
am
thing.
I am also numb, Tyler. And that's why this is even funnier than it should be, because
I mean, what is?
I'm Monday night's game broke me, and I told you that.
Yeah,
I
you
looked at
was broke.
you, I looked at you, I looked at Kate, and I looked at Katie on Monday night, and I said, "This Cubs game officially broke me as a Cubs fan."
Yeah,
For the last 2 years of this optimism that I've tried to uphold, even 2022, trying to be optimistic. I sat here with Juice and we talk about the future. We sat here with you guys and you
yeah.
and Joey and Nick and everybody. And we talked about the future and this optimism. And Monday broke my soul, even though I won $112 that night because of that
You
Ian
did.
Happ
I mean,
anytime
you
home
did.
run bet,
I,
which I
it,
didn't even
let's
realize
be honest.
happened.
that was like a movie. Like you could have put that in a movie scene,
You
just
could have.
that ball in slow motion, like just flying over our heads, and we're just like, no.
I almost lost my voice, as a matter of fact, on that home run. It
Yeah.
was that good. Brad says here he's like, I'm broken too, brother. I can't do this. Also, he was enjoying the
And just to go
hysterical.
back a little bit, the even sadder thing about this is Ryne Sandberg on Ryne Sandberg Day, the day that you unveil his statue. Like, what was it, like just a day or two after the Sandberg? Wasn't the anniversary of the Sandberg game just like 2 days or a day or two ago or something like that? Was it today?
Mhm.
Sorry, my bad. And I'm wearing his shirt today. It's just like a bigger punch in the gut. And you had Boog on the ESPN broadcast,
You
all
had
of it.
home broadcaster on the show. I
And
thought
he
that
hits,
too.
what's his name? I don't even know the dude's name. Hits a piss rocket missile to dead center that hasn't landed yet. And he just like, just completely sells it. Just,
Because he's got to throw the national hat on.
yeah.
That's the hard part about having a broadcaster
Yeah.
with national ties, because you have to take the kick in the balls when they have to be neutral to the teams they're calling. And it sucks because he puts it into it when the Cubs score, and the other teams he leaves a little off when it's Cubs games. But when it's national, he has to get excited. You have to sell the product. It's not selling
Yeah.
a certain team. So I
Oh,
get that. And
and
it
Tom
sucks.
Ricketts was in attendance today too. He watched the whole
He
thing.
was.
So there's that too.
No excuses now. No excuses. Tyler, I think when we circle back to this idea of being numb, I'm just at the point where something has to change. And I don't know what that change is. I think a power bat would do a lot of good change quickly
Can
because you have some of the relieving arms coming back. Go ahead.
you said power bat? I maybe kind of a power bat. Another kick in the dick. They mentioned it 3 to 4 times, and I said this. I said this at the beginning of the season. And now, granted, this guy may not have been like the dude that gets you into the playoffs, but JD Martinez, they talked about that guy 4 times, at least 4 times in the broadcast, about how that dude has been a difference maker, a complete difference maker to their young hitters in that lineup. Hell, Pete Alonso said it when they were talking to him, like on during the game today, like in the 3rd inning, like, what has JD Martinez meant to this lineup? Francisco Alvarez said the same freaking thing. All of them. That would have been I get it. He's like 35 plus years old, but like still, that would have been great. But granted, he's not going anywhere right now. But I agree. A power bat would be nice. A bat in general would be nice.
It would be nice. And it feels like that's what they're one thing away from. It's like you put one power bat that can carry this lineup a little bit extra. So it's not just Belly and Seiya needing to play superhero when they right now very clearly can't.
No, Bellinger's had 1 home run in the entire month of June.
Yeah, it's been rough in these parts. But Tyler, I will say at this point though, the numbness allowed this series to settle back. And I kind of laugh because this is like the hottest team in baseball. It's weird that it's the Mets. And this is why, Tyler, I'm going to go quickly on a small rant here. This is why. This is not a shot at any direct person. I love everybody in our comment section. You help spawn the conversation. You help me create points and things that we need to consider as baseball fans. This is not to be derogatory of any stretch. This is why I hate when people talk about trade deadline stuff before the trade deadline, like too far in advance, especially in baseball. Baseball's an entirely different sport. Like I am super tuned into the NFL. I'm super tuned into NHL because of my Blackhawks and Bears affiliations with On Tap, and as a fan, the trade deadline shit gets established far sooner when there's less games in a season. When it's 162, talking about the trade market at the end of April or even at the end of May is ludicrous. Absolute ludicrous. Because look at this Mets team. Everybody's Pete Alonso's going to be available. The Mets are trading Pete Alonso.
It's like they have no reason to trade him right now.
If they continue this pace for even a month and a half and then play 500 ball down the stretch, they're making the playoffs. They're not going to trade away assets, not with the expanded playoff and what the freaking Diamondbacks did last. The Diamondbacks broke baseball. They broke the trade deadline
Yeah,
because
I think
fewer teams are going to be sellers.
it's broke baseball. It's broke front offices. It's broke general managers because you look at this. Let's just face it. You look at this shit NL for the most part. You look at this crappy,
And teams are
god
still
awful
in it.
National League, and they all think, and they all. I mean, why not think it? We have a chance. We all have a chance. Like so. The Mets aren't. Steve Cohen ain't going to do that. We all know that. He's keeping like he's and there and onto your point, I'm sorry if you still have more to say about the trade market, but it's just why, like, to be honest, I wouldn't be shocked. One, you're right. You can't talk about the trade market in April and May. You just can't. It's way too early. But I also wouldn't
Also,
be shocked.
like
All, and,
between 4th of July and All-Star break is when you can
yeah,
start talking about it.
usually about the beginning of July, you're like, okay, what's available? What's out there?
Let's talk about it.
Here's a take. I wouldn't be shocked, especially in the NL, if you saw a lot of teams not do anything
And just stay
and
pat.
just sit back and stay the course and go, oh, we're going to ride it out because everybody else is so bad. I mean, really, as long as we can just be the better crappy team, if we can be the better piece of crap in the whole entire piece of crap, we got a chance. And if we can just get in, we got it. And I think you're going to see more teams. You're going to see more teams do stuff like that because like you said, the Diamondbacks broke baseball and they broke the way general managers can, construct their team.
Yeah. 1,000%. 1,000%. I have a rebuttal here in the comments, but I'm going to save it for my hot take because there is one more thing I want to get to. Maybe two more things actually with this series before we start to teeter into some rabbit holes and then look at some other things. Earlier, Scott from Iowa said the robo-umps, the ABS challenge system needs to be implemented now. Terrible strike zone tonight as well. But also as a part of tonight, speaking of things that are handled by umpires, how about that Diaz ejection for the shtickish stuff on the fingers? What do you think about that?
It's okay. It's the same. Okay, one, they should the steroids, kind of all that should all have been. Steroids should be legal. Okay, that's one thing. But obviously they're not. So when I see somebody that gets busted for steroids, it's like PEDs, whatever you want to call it. It's just like, what are you doing, man? It's 2024. You're not going to be able to hide this crap. You're not. And so it's kind of like it's the same thing with that. Edwin Diaz comes in. It's like, dude, it's 2024. No, wash your hands before you go out there or anything. You can't like why? You know what I mean? It's like the dude with Toronto. What was it yesterday? Their number 2 prospect that got popped for some PED and he tried to whatever. I don't care what your excuse
He had
is.
just didn't he just come back from something and then he got suspended for 80 games?
He just came back and I think supposedly he said him and his girlfriend were trying to have a baby or whatever, but it's like, so what? It's like, the rules. It's the same thing with this. It's like, what are you doing, man? You played baseball forever. Like you pitched in games. This isn't the first time you've been checked. And it's like, here we are. So I say, that's something else Edwin Diaz is probably going to cry about later maybe later tonight.
Hey, maybe. I just wanted to hear your take. I just thought it was interesting because I feel like we haven't, since the whole sticky stuff thing happened, I feel like we don't see it much.
No, because everybody got the hint. They're like, yeah, they're really checking for this shit. Like every single guy that you see it every single time. Every time you even go to a game in person, you see it every single time. Every time. So like Edwin Diaz doing that, whether it was something legit or not, like the fact that it was enough for the umpires to be like, hey, come over. Like you see the dude, he was like, head up, come over here. Like the fact that it was like that obvious, it was like, dude, check your shit before you come in.
100%. 100%. I'm glad you had to say that. Tyler, I have a hot take. I want to get into this sooner than later. I'm going to save my Ron stop watching games thing for a minute and that joke. And I love all of our commenters. I have a bone to pick with Scott from Iowa right now though. Because a comment he said earlier, because it contradicts what my hot take was going to be. So I'm not doing it because I want to be mean. I'm just doing it because it's a counteracting point to what I have to
Well,
say.
if you are, look at it this way, we're all numb anyway, so it'll be all right.
Yeah, we're all
Scott'll be all right.
and Scott knows I absolutely love and appreciate him. And we will happily crack beers hopefully someday at a
Oh,
AAA Iowa game. He says Bodie, Mastro, Wisdom, and Bush are all basically the same player. Pick two to DFA and call up Owen Casey and Canario. I support a 2 out of 3 scenario from there, but grouping Michael Bush with any of
no,
those guys right now is criminal because my
very
hot
criminal.
take, Tyler, is stop babying Michael Bush,
Yeah,
play him against lefties.
yeah,
Because right now, he is still your most consistent hitter this entire season. He leads this team in WAR for position players. Shota, I think, is the only player on this roster that has a better WAR than he does right now.
mhm,
He's a 130 something OPS, which is best on your team, or WRC plus, sorry, OPS plus, on your team, which is best on your team.
he leads rookies in home runs, right? Or he's
I
tied?
I, I believe so. He's
Like,
been really
he
freaking
may
good.
not win Rookie of the Year, but he's gonna get votes.
He's gonna get votes, and I'll tell you what. You start playing him against lefties, and he starts to find ways to get on base. He might win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
Let him play. You have nothing to lose. Stop playing Patrick Wisdom at first base and taking away at bats from Michael Bush. It's tragic. Just stop. It's not
yeah,
even worth it right now. I
it is.
love the idea. And Scott followed that up and said, we've seen PCA move Belly out of center, let Owen Casey and Canario push the other two out as starters. I mean, Happ has been really good. I don't necessarily want to push him out. I don't want to push Seiya out either. But I'm all for the idea of a Canario or an Owen Casey getting a shot. Maybe he's just a DH right now, just to be another
Yeah,
bat. Force Morel to figure it out at third. You don't have Madrigal right now. Maybe you give Morel an off day if you need to play Wisdom there because you need him against lefties, even though he's hit nobody this year. Just give Michael Bush more at bats.
yeah,
Stop taking him away from the kid. If you're going to let him develop, let him develop, let him fail and find himself. He did that. He was terrible in the month of May, and then he struggled a little bit
he's
in June, and then he turned it on.
gonna figure it out, at least for the moment. Yeah,
He adjusted to the league adjusting to him. And in order for him to continue to do that and grow as a player, who I think could be a very key piece of this Cubs team for a few years now down the line, he needs consistent at bats. Do not let this man sit on the bench at
yeah.
all unless he needs a rest day.
I don't get why they don't like. Why not swap Wisdom with either Owen Casey, Canario, whoever? It's like I'm at the point. I heard a comment at one of the games we were at about Patrick Wisdom when they said like, "Oh, he's either a strikeout or a home run," and it's like, no, it's not even that. It's not even that. And
He's
Boog
a
even said
strikeout or a pop out.
like Boog even said it on the broadcast, and I really just I wanted to like grab him through the TV and just like smack him because he was like, Wisdom, a guy with big power, and it's like he's got 3 home runs. He had big power like 2 or 3 years ago, and it was in that little span of between like the last 162 games. He was third in the NL in home runs. It's like that's what all this is. That's all where that's came from. Like he is I get it. Like tonight, like that first pitch was a ball, but still, like the fact that he was in that situation tonight. You were down by 3, 2 outs, 1 runner on. You needed base runners. It's like I was absolutely one. If I could have bet my house on it, I could have that he was going to get out in that situation. I would have like the fact that he's taking back to your point. The fact that he's taking at bats away. He didn't take at bats away tonight for Michael Bush, but like you said, sometimes he's in there at first base, and it's just like, why? Yeah, he had a big fly ball the other day, whatever Sunday game that was, and he had another big fly ball out like to the wall again, like the next day or the day before. And it's like, cool, great, it's an out.
Yeah. It's a glorified out with him right now. They're trying to search and find the narrative. And I got nothing against Patrick Wisdom.
No,
If he was performing, we wouldn't feel this way. He's just
he
not
seems like a
performing.
nice guy, great guy, but it's just like you said, it's not working out.
It's not working out. And we've seen the Cubs move on from Yan Gomes. Makes you
Yeah,
think Yan Gomes was making about $3.5 million more a year than Wisdom is right now. Something
yeah.
to maybe keep in mind and consider when roster moves come and go. Hank says here, he says it seems like every full game he has watched with the Cubs, they get 2 runs or less. And it's seriously pissing him off,
Yeah,
not missing him
Hank.
off. I get that. I fat finger
Right there
text
with
all the
you.
time.
I'm right there numb with you, Hank.
We're all numb.
Yeah.
We're all numb. Tyler, I've learned One quick comment here. Brad says, I miss Bush being there. I agree with Ron. Play him. Yeah, play him. Play him. Play him all the time. Play him. Just play him. Put him in the lineup. DH him every once in a while. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just do it. If you want Wisdom's
If you,
bat in the lineup so damn badly, DH
yeah.
Michael
If
Bush
you want to swap him
and
and
figure it out.
I'll swap him and Cody and, DH and first base. Screw it. If you want to keep PCA in center and say
Yeah. And if you want to, maybe if you want to put Wisdom in the game, Morel's at third, Wisdom plays first, Belly's in center, and you just don't play PCA that day.
Yeah.
Bush has been too good to not play him. Too good to not play him.
Yeah.
Tyler, I have one more thing here with this series. I know we've largely talked about it from a very high level, but I need to stop watching Cubs games for like 2 days and see what happens because I didn't watch any of Saturday's game. They won. And it's happened more than once this year. And it kind of drives me nuts. The Cubs do really well when I don't pay attention. And it's not because I don't want to pay attention. It's because I physically can't. I'm either physically driving, which usually I'm listening on the radio. And I'm cool listening to I'll listen to Pat and Ron on the radio.
I love listening to them on the radio.
Happily on Saturdays, if it means the Cubs are going to win every Saturday of my life, I will listen to them on the radio. I don't have to watch the game. Totally fine. But neither here nor there. Our records aren't great paying attention to the Cubs games. And it talks about our watch along record. You and I talked about that before the show. We have one win in like 9 or 10 tries. Do we abandon the watch along, Tyler? It's a hot take, but do we abandon it?
Here's another thing. It goes back to the analogy of that girl that you had the fling with. Stop acting like you care. And then she comes back to you. Stop watching. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe you got something. Because here's the thing. I didn't watch Saturday either. Like you said, I was on the lake, so I didn't watch a single pitch, and look what happened, 10-1. Which, by the way, one thing that we kind of talked about that needs to get highlighted, Jameson Tyon, you were awesome Saturday, sir. Super scooper of the game. 10 freaking strikeouts, 1 hit, 7 innings. Like, it goes back to it kind of goes back to the numbness and everything as far as like with Tyon. Like, it's almost like this season for him, it almost feels like it's going to be a waste. But anyways, good job, sir. But maybe that's the solution, Ron. I don't know. I mean, hell, I would try anything at this point.
I dig it. I'm all for it. I have a little update really quick here as we're live. These are fun. We don't get these a whole lot. This is from Jesse Rogers as of about 8 minutes ago. Crew Chief Vic Carapazza regarding Edwin Diaz being ejected tonight in the Mets-Cubs game after checking his hand. End quote. It definitely wasn't rosin and sweat. We've checked thousands of these. I know what that feeling is. This was very sticky. So it wasn't a mistaken rosin. And it's funny because I don't know, Tyler, if you're a big Trevor Bauer content fan, but I'll watch his little like Mexico League things from time to time now because he goes so in depth, and the baseball nerd in me appreciates that. He talked about how sticky that heat with sweat and rosin can be. And it's very fair, right? They allow rosin. Rosin's totally illegal in baseball. There's a rosin bag on the fucking back of the mound, for fuck's sake. And it can get burly sticky, but it has to be hot. Baseball's like, if you need sticky stuff, baseball's meant to be played when you're sweating your balls off. Like, that's just what it is. You need to be sweating. That's why it's a summer sport. I understand why guys try to get the grip, but like, you can do it. Just warm your body up enough where you can make it get sticky. Sweat a little bit. It's okay. You'll be fine. Adrenaline's a wonderful thing. Like, that could backfire on him. Like, I don't know what that means now at this point where like you don't see these in the league. Like, could he get suspended as a result of this?
Are you talking about Diaz?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't he like, I'm pretty sure if you get ejected because of that, aren't you automatically like suspended?
But how long though?
Did they not like, just dumb question. Did they not like announce that like preseason? So it's basically like
maybe, I don't know.
I didn't know. I didn't know like, if does MLB decide like how many games there's just, because like there's been guys already in the past be suspended for like this season, right?
Let's find out. We're gonna do something. Oh, here we go. Sticky stuff ejection come with an automatic 10-game suspension.
There you go. Which, to
10
be
games.
honest, it may not be the worst thing for the Mets because of, what does he have, like a 4+ ERA? Which I get it. He's a closer, so like,
He's still a
yeah, that
closer.
one bad outing, but one bad outing can like, really juice it up. But like he hasn't been like
Yeah.
I don't think he's been like the Edwin Diaz of old this season, but still,
No. He's allowed 12 earned runs in 23 innings. So that is definitely not the Diaz of old, but he still has 7 saves. He's only walked 7 and struck out
mhm,
33. So that 4.70 ERA is like either he gets hit hard or he doesn't get hit at all. It's hit or
yeah,
miss. Pun fully intended.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean, yeah,
absolutely. Scott
figure it
feels the
out,
same way
dude.
too.
Like
Scott's
again,
all over the
yes, yeah, but again, it's 2024, dude. Like nobody's gonna feel sorry for you.
figure it out. Figure it out, bud. Thank you, Scott. We always appreciate you being a fact checker for us here at Cubs on Tap. Tyler, I want to talk about something that still happened within the duration of this Met series, but just focus on appreciating things more in
Yeah,
Cubs baseball. Some positivity in the show. And that is the Ryne Sandberg statue ceremony. We were at CubsCon together when this news broke that he would be getting a statue in front of Wrigley Field the first year we all attended the CubsCon together. It was 18 months in the making of him getting a statue, but they announced it at our first CubsCon together. It made it kind of fun and special for the Cubs on Tap crew. Watching that today was really cool. They did that well. It was good to see Sean Dunston, Larry Boa, obviously Bob Costas, who called the game. I think the coolest thing, Tyler, that I want to talk about here in a minute after we get your reaction to everything that happened was just like what the game of the week meant. I think that's a really cool little piece of tidbit that for somebody who, me, hands to the sky, I was born in the mid 90s. I don't remember game of the week. You might not even remember game of the
no,
week.
I was
My
born in
mom,
'90. Yeah,
my mom remembers game of the week. My mom was telling me tonight, actually, speaking of the Sandberg game, because today is the anniversary of it as well, which makes it
mhm,
appropriate that they did it today. Maybe that's part of the reason that they flexed this game to Sunday Night Baseball, so the Cubs could do this. 10 little tinfoil hat take for you. But she said in '84 it was her college graduation party on the Saturday of the Ryne Sandberg game, and they had it on the TV in the garage during the party, and just what it was. And she's like, it sticks out, it burns in my brain forever because that game was on at like a significant like milestone in her life. But, like, that game was super important, and we're gonna talk about that here, but I wanna hear from you because it was a great ceremony. Cole Wright did a
yeah.
great job front of the program, crushed it as the MC. You heard all the different speakers. The crowd was fantastic. Bob Costas estimates it was like 5,000 people. I fully believe it. Lots of
Bill Murray
23s
was
out
in
there.
attendance.
Bill Murray was there. All the Cubs Hall of Famers were there, Sweet Swinging Billy, the Hawk, everybody. Fergie was there. But you saw a good amount of homage shirts, a friend of the program in a lot of sense. You're wearing one right now. Obvious shirts, another friend of the program, Joe. A lot of those the goat
The
shirts
Rhino, yeah,
and the rhino shirts. With the 23. It was a hell of a day of Cubs history celebration, Tyler. That despite the outcome of the actual baseball game, needs to take its moment of appreciation because now you have another statue of just a franchise icon. It shows the difference of this Cubs team. Like what teams in baseball have statues in front of their ballpark? Very
yeah,
few. The Cubs fan base is so crazy that if you are a legend in this organization, you will be loved and appreciated forever. Ryne Sandberg, Fergie Jenkins, Ron Santo, the list goes on. Sweet Swinging Billy, Ernie, Harry Carey, all of them, they have statues. And that means a lot. And it was really cool to see Ryan's tonight. I think it was really cool that he's playing defense as a
yeah.
as a former Gold Glover, and obviously he's one of the best hitting second basemen of all time. But he took the appreciation for what he brought defensively, and I feel like it's a theme in Chicago, right? The Bears' defense is famous, and defense in Chicago is a thing. And if you play good defense, it's always going to be appreciated. Tyler, your reaction to what the ceremony was, any thoughts,
Oh,
reactions,
it
opinions?
was awesome. Well deserved for a guy that, which, in all honesty, we could all probably argue should have happened. A hell of a lot sooner. But for a guy that spent the majority of his career in Chicago, that has such an impact, like your mom, for example, like Sandberg to her is like what what Sosa was, what Sosa's who got me into baseball.
Yep.
Sandberg got so many. I mean, just take you could erase the stats, whatever. Just what he was to this franchise for so many fans, out there that like he's the guy. He's the guy that may have got your mom, may have got older fans into. I want to watch the Cubs. Let's watch the Cubs, and it like so. It was so well deserved to a guy that I mean, recently has just been through a lot,
Yeah.
health wise, and just so glad to see that he was there when you have guys like rest in peace to Willie Mays who they had that game for him. What was it, last Thursday? And we were I was in attendance the night that they announced his death. Not many people get to even be in attendance to stuff like this because they passed away. So it's nice to see Sandberg in attendance, the fans, thousands of people there, the players up at the top of the stadium watching, and it just goes to show that like people care. They care about this organization, they care about their guys, they want more of that, and it was just awesome to see, and hopefully it's definitely not the last statue we get.
Amen to that. Amen to that. I hope someday. I know these guys will probably not be baseball Hall of Famers necessarily, but I hope that the final out is a statue at Wrigley someday.
Oh, I hope that one's. Hopefully we get that one, and to be honest, I doubt we get it. I feel like the next one has to be a Sammy Sosa hop. That's just me, that. But yeah, and to be honest, going back to Sandberg for a second, a guy that I never personally got to see play. I wasn't really, I think what was his last season, like 90s? I didn't even know. I think I was looking the other day, like I think his last season was 97. I didn't realize he
played a long time.
And for a guy that I never got to see play, but I know his importance to this organization. I mean, hell, I bought his T-shirt the other night across the street from Wrigley. So yeah, it was just awesome to see, and something that was completely 1,000,000% very well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. Yeah, he played a hell of a time. 81, he technically played with the Phillies to start his career. Just 13 games, 6 total at-bats in that one. I mean, didn't play much at all, but starting in 82 as a 22-year-old with the Cubs, he ended with the Cubs in 1997. Still had 64 runs driven in and a 711 OPS, which would probably be what? Fifth or sixth on this current Cubs team, fourth or fifth on this Cubs team. And went out that way. A forever Cub, an absolute legend of the game. What a day. It was awesome. Scott says it here. Bulls, Cubs, and Bears all have a 23 in the Hall of Fame. 23 is Chicago's number. It really is. Ryne Sandberg is a great 23. Obviously, with the Bulls, it's the GOAT, Michael Jordan. Devin Hester, the best returner in NFL history. And I'll tell you what, there's some good 23s with the White Sox as well. Robin Ventura, Jermaine Dye, who won the World Series there. 23 is very much a Chicago number. The Blackhawks, I think, are the only team that don't have like a big time 23.
I'll be honest. I honestly didn't realize Sandberg played. I mean, not that he played like a ton of seasons with him. I didn't realize Sandberg played as many seasons with Sammy Sosa as he did.
Agreed. Isn't that crazy when that overlap happens?
Yeah.
It's wild. It's nuts. A quick comment from Rhino as Sammy said the offense putrid. Awesome ceremony, though. The Dunston speech was good. It's fun to hear about the timelines, too, right? Like it was Larry Boa before, and then it was Dunston for the latter part of his career.
It's cool seeing, like, it's almost like you'd want to be like a fly on the wall when, like, okay, let's, going to Sosa, for example. Like, it'd be cool to be like a fly on the wall when, like, a young player like a Sosa sees a GOAT to a franchise like Sandberg was. You know what I mean? Like it'd just be cool to see that, just to see how that interaction was, or just stuff like that. That would have been cool to see.
For sure. I totally agree. Awesome stuff. So congratulations to Ryne Sandberg. Congratulations to good news on his health back in May.
Yeah.
There's technically, according to scans, no cancer in his body. Again, wishing him the best of luck going forward as well, because that process doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
It was cool too today because I got to, on a personal note to what Ryne Sandberg meant to people, I got to see my mom get pretty into
Yeah.
it as a Cubs fan, and that was cool. And I wish I would have gotten to see my dad. My dad's chilling in the hospital right now. Everybody knows Papa Loose in the comments. Shout out to Dad. Successful surgery, nothing life threatening or anything, just something he needed to get done. But it was cool seeing Mama Loose react with the Cubs. People, if you guys would watch my parents around the Cubs, you would get why I'm a part of Cubs on Tap. Like, she
And
was choked up, and
yeah, it's cool. I was going to say, like, you get to see, your mom and dad, I'm assuming, got you into baseball.
diehards, yeah,
And Sandberg was their favorite player,
100%,
or at least one of them. So, like, you get to see how that guy was, how they were to your mom and dad. You know what I mean? Like how your mom and dad looked at them. And the same way with my dad. My dad got me into baseball. Dad's favorite player, Willie Mays. Absolutely loved him. And I remember just talking to him on the phone about just like, and I knew my whole, like, just how he looked at Willie Mays, what Willie Mays was to him, and it's the same way with Sandberg. It's cool to see. It's just cool to see like that. I mean, hell, that relationship that, your parents had with their people, with their favorite players, and you look at yourself and who your favorite player, you know what I mean? It's just cool to see that.
It is cool to see that. And like, I think too, for my mom, so for a lot of people that probably aren't super close to Ron Luce, but my mom battled cancer twice. She had ovarian cancer, 2 different bouts of it, beat it. She's a badass.
Hell yeah.
She can identify with Rhino and how when you get sick, it changes your perspective on life and family and friends and your loved ones and the people that you give a shit about. For example, my family with you guys here at Cubs on Tap, like, it was cool. It was really, really cool to see all that transpire and just, again, like you said, like the fandom of your parents, the people that got you into baseball and giving you something that you felt loved and appreciated by. It was really, really cool, man. It was good. It was an awesome day. I know they lost, but I think that alone saved the Sunday to be an incredible one when it's all said and done. Another one from Rhino is him. He's tagging you here, Tyler. He says he's changed his scream names. Your Imanaga Screaming Buddy. Did your Imanaga video in St. Louis and Milwaukee. He says, great pod, guys. Just popped in to show you guys some love. Appreciate that. Absolutely appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
the shh. I'm not going to do it now. I might wake up my whole house if I do.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, it was he messaged me a while back because he was like, "Hey man, would you be cool with me? Would you be cool with me doing the show to shout? Like I believe the first time was in St. Louis, and I was just like, the fact that he was asked, I was just like, dude, yeah, go for it. Like you don't need my permission, just do it. And he's done it a couple of times, man. It's freaking hilarious. It's awesome. So like,
that's good.
We need more of that.
We need more show to shouting. Tyler, you've made it so famous to the point where I was nervous trying to replicate that on the watch along the other night. It was good, man. It was good. It was fun. Sonny says here, he said he needs to start watching WNBA or something. He can't let his summer get ruined like this either. Back to the sour note. We appreciate Sonny, though, another fellow friend of us here at On Tap Sportsnet and colleague at On Tap Sportsnet, joining us here in the comment section this evening. Tyler, I have no more to say about this Met series, anything that transpired in the last few days. I'm ready to look ahead, but I want to give the floor to you here really quick before we do that. Any final thoughts about the Met series, about the Rhino ceremony, anything over the last handful of days in Cubs baseball?
No, I'm just going to try to forget about it. I'm going to try to forget about her. Going back to the analogy earlier, if she tries to text me or call me, I'm just going to try to, I'm just ignoring it. I'm numb to it. So, yeah, on to the next one.
On to the next.
Just see what happens.
To the next one. I don't want to get us copyrighted, but go listen to Sahova. You'll know what we're talking about here. I'm right there with you. Put it in the past. Keep moving forward. I'll tell you what, Tyler. a quick thought on the comparisons to last year. You brought some of that up earlier. It's painful because this Cubs team, I'm pretty convinced, had a worse record at this time last year, and last year went the
Yeah.
way it did. And so it's giving me a sense of false hope going into the trade deadline. I'm like, well, if you come out of the All-Star break and like you get a little hot, like maybe it'll happen. But I'm like, no, I can't do that again. But they are in a better position. So who knows? Again, anything
I'm
can
just
happen.
let's be honest,
Yeah.
let's be honest. I'm prepared to hear that, the mid-season report. I'm prepared to hear the whole paragraph, the whole saying of, well, it's been up and down, guys of how they're, had their injuries, but we're going to finally get everybody back, and it's baseball and it's a game of streaks and blah, blah, blah. And so I think once everybody gets together, we're going to finally be fully healthy and yada, yada. And that's going to be it. Like I'm prepared for that. So
Hey, man,
whatever I am, I'm just prepared to, yeah.
I feel that. I hear you, and I'm right there with you. And I'm trying to convince myself otherwise. But Tyler, let's look ahead because this coming series is against the Giants. It's on the road. They're back
Yeah, this
on
is
the
a
West
rough road
Coast.
trip.
Lots of late night games here for us here in Chicago. Monday's game is an 8:45 Central Time start, as are Tuesday and Wednesday in this one. Justin Steele will start the game for the Cubs on Monday. It will be Hendricks on Tuesday. Wednesday, and I believe, yes, Thursday are both TBD. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are TBD for the Giants, and Hicks will start Thursday. There's a lot of chaos. So there's going to be a lot of news coming out. So be sure to be tuning along with the two teams. You'll know what the pitching matchups are on the days of the games. It's going to be a crazy one. They beat this Giants team 2 out of 3, potentially should have swept them 3 out of 3. Tyler, home
Yeah.
field is always a big thing, especially in the Bay in San Francisco. That Triples Alley feels like a good week for PCA potentially. But what do the Cubs need to do to replicate their success against the Giants this time, though, in their own ballpark and in a 4-game series?
Don't do what they did this series against the Mets. Leave Hector Neris away from this team because we know how that went. Justin Steele is going to be Justin Steele on Monday. I have all the confidence in the world in him. Kyle, I mean, he was good last start. Yeah, maybe. Gee, I don't know. Like I said, this is going to be a rough series because you're going to San Francisco, and then you turn around and go back to Milwaukee. I don't know. Maybe this is what they need. Maybe they need to fly all the way across the country, and maybe that's what does it for them. But yeah, don't do what they did against the Mets. I mean, just it's the same old thing. Hit the damn ball.
Hit the ball. I agree with you, sir. I have nothing else to add. Before we get out of here, though, a couple of quick comments, and then we'll start to wrap things up. As Ryan was him says, Shota Himanaga. He also fires up really quick. This is a little quick paragraph. He says, "Fire Dustin Kelly. Whatever his approach with the guys at the plate is not working. They don't go 6-4 in the next 10. They're sellers." He says they can't hit with our runners in scoring position. Bad roster construction by Jed. They're a team who everyone on the roster has regressed offensively. It's a game of streaks. And what was the
Hey, I
radio
will
voice that you
say,
did there,
hey, and
Tyler?
with that comment, I will say, and it's like I said, whatever it was at the beginning of June. If this team is 8 or 9 games back at the end of June, because like we just talked about earlier,
Yep.
like July 1st is when you start talking about the trade deadline. Yeah, depending on how this series goes, let's just say hypothetically they get swept. Let's say they get swept this whole entire week, just hypothetically. Then at that point, come July 1st, which, yeah, it'll probably be about the time that, Jed Hoyer gives his mid-season report. And, yeah, it'll be interesting. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with them in the sense that they need to win these next 2 series. Yeah.
100%. 100%. Yeah, you got 2 big ones. Like you said, the Brewers coming up over the weekend then after this
And,
series
hey,
out
who
in the
knows?
Bay.
Maybe Tom Rick, because Tom was in the building tonight. Jed was probably in the building, too. I didn't even notice him. Was he at the ceremony today?
Yeah, I don't know. He might have been. He might have been undercover.
He was probably close. Who knows? Maybe them two are having a conversation right now. Who knows about his job? For all we know, maybe not.
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe they're at Small Cheval right now eating burgers, but maybe not.
Don't tease me with that small cheval burger.
Yeah,
Those fries with the garlic aioli though.
they're fire.
Oh, they're so good. Anyway, I'll get off my high horse about wanting food around Wrigley Field. Jay asks, what day would a watch along be this week? Obviously, Monday through Wednesday, as we said, we're 8:45 Central Times. He asks, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? He says, make Joey host it to change the luck. Apparently, I'm being kicked off the watch along, is what I'm gathering
Yeah,
out of
it's
that.
what it sounds like. But here's the thing: if Joey hosts it, like you can't host it with Joey's internet. Or who knows? Maybe that's what this team needs is Joey's bad internet. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe Jay's
Hey,
on to something. I don't know.
if it would be a live stream for no reason, but it might be for the sake of the Cubs. So maybe we'll
Yeah.
see what happens when it's all said and done. We will coordinate about that, and that will all be disclosed over the course of Monday. So as the Cubs give out updates before the start of a series, we'll give out updates before the start of the series. It's going to be fun. Actually, I do have an update, Tyler. I'm going to put my reporter cap on here for a second as we get into this thing here. I do have a roster move to announce. The Cubs on Tap podcast has placed Juice on Tap on the 15-day IL, retroactive to a week ago,
Get
with
well soon, buddy.
an undisclosed injury that is of abnormal nature, we'll call it. Hopefully he's feeling better soon. It's probably why you haven't seen Juice on these airwaves over the last couple of shows.
Well soon.
Get well soon. He is down for the count right now. All is good. It's something, unfortunately, that it's common, but it's not common enough.
If this Cubs offense needs motivation right now, do it for Juice. Okay, guys?
Do it for Juice.
Do it for Juice.
Just do it for Juice. He needs all the help we can get. And speaking of things that we can get to the end of the show. But before we get there, Tyler, I want to remind everybody, Cubs on Tap, always one of two great Cubs podcasts here at the On Tap Sports Network covering your Chicago Cubs. Do follow our friends over at the Dingers podcast. They will be live on Monday night, is what I believe is going to occur. That'll be between 8 and 9 o'clock Central Time. Like, subscribe, hit the bell button on the On Tap Sports YouTube channel, and you will know when that Dinger show goes live, as well as all of our other shows, including Cubs on Tap. We are at Cubbies on Tap. The Dinger boys are at Dinger Cubs. I am at Loose on Tap. Teddy Freddy 270. You guys know the drill. Juice on Tap. Nick _ on Tap. Joey Knows Nothing. And our boy Bobby Foster at Silent Bob _2. Bulls. Big offseason. Josh Giddey trade. A lot of controversy. Check that out over at ontapsportsnet.com. Bears. It's a weird lull period. It's quiet. It's dead. But training camp is on the horizon. Do be ready for the Bears on Tap crew this year. Blackhawks. GM Ron is in full activation, folks. It's draft week for the NHL. The draft is at the end of the week. Free agency opens the following Monday. GM Ron is in full swing. If you like the Blackhawks and hockey, check out Four Feathers podcast. A lot of good stuff coming. We will be live on Monday as well, previewing the draft, previewing free agency before all shit starts to metaphorically hit the fan within the next 10 days. And Tyler, as always, you have friends that might like the White Sox. I have friends that might like the White Sox. I think our listeners do as well. Yeah, they're a little weird, but that's okay. Send your friends to our friends. They can be friends. Tell them to go check out Sox on Tap, the On Tap Sports Network, www.ontapsportsnet.com, at On Tap Sports, and on the socials. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Tyler, this was a blast. Despite a series loss, Cubs dropped 2 of 3 to the Mets. It's a 4-game series coming up in the Bay in San Francisco. 3 of those games will be 8:45 starts Central Time, and then a 2:45 getaway start on Thursday before a 3-game set in Milwaukee at the end of the week. You will potentially hear from us with a watch along during the week. We will be with you after the series on Thursday. Until then, Tyler, what do you say, buddy? We got to hear the only way we know how at Cubs on Tap.
I usually end these things with a big fat FTC, but right now I've got a new slogan for this team.
Oh.
Do something different. Yeah. Do something different.
I like it a lot. I hope they do something different. I'm going to do something different too, Tyler. And encourage people, enjoy your summer. But root on these Cubbies. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe they won't. But there's a holiday coming up. People be safe. Be smart.
Don't go sitting or eating any Roman candles. It's not worth it. Don't let this team do that to you.
Don't do that either. Don't do that either. and we're just going to end this thing. I'm going to make it awkward to do something different.